Welcome to a deep dive into the holographic universe.
Yeah.
It's an idea so profound, it could rewrite our understanding of reality itself. So picture this. What if our 3D world is just a projection, like a holographic image,
Yeah.
of information encoded on a distant 2D surface? That's the mind-bending premise of the holographic principle. Are we ready to have our perceptions of the universe flipped inside out?
What makes this theory so compelling is that it's not just some fringe idea. It's being explored by leading physicists like Leonard Susskind and
Ah,
Juan Maldacena.
yeah.
They're not just playing with sci-fi concepts. They're grappling with fundamental questions about the nature of the universe.
It's like those 3D images you see on credit cards, right? They look 3D, but all the information is actually contained on a flat surface. So
Yeah.
are we essentially living in a cosmic credit card hologram?
The analogy is helpful, but the holographic principle goes much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests that everything we perceive, from galaxies to atoms, is ultimately information encoded on a distant boundary of space. Think of it like a cosmic blueprint
Yeah.
that projects our reality.
Okay. That's a lot to unpack. Where do we even begin to understand how this could be possible?
One of the biggest clues comes from a puzzle that has baffled physicists for decades.
Ah,
The black hole information paradox.
okay.
You see, according to classical physics, anything that falls into a black hole vanishes forever, including all the information it contained. But that violates a fundamental law of physics.
Okay.
Information cannot be destroyed.
So if I threw my favorite book into a black hole, the story, the characters, everything about that book would just disappear. That doesn't seem right.
Exactly. And that's where the holographic principle offers a potential solution.
Okay.
It suggests that the information isn't lost. It's encoded on the surface of the black hole, its event horizon.
Hmm.
Instead of disappearing, the information about that book would be imprinted on the black hole's surface, like writing on a cosmic chalkboard.
But the event horizon is like a giant hard drive, storing the information of everything that falls in. Does that mean we could potentially retrieve that information someday?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? It challenges our assumptions about information storage and retrieval. Instead of thinking of information as being contained within an object, the holographic principle suggests this might be smeared across a surface. This has even sparked research into connections with quantum computing, exploring the idea of storing vast amounts of information in quantum systems.
Whoa, hold on. You're telling me that this cosmic hologram concept might have real-world implications for things like computers?
Absolutely. The way we think about information is at the heart of the holographic principle. It forces us to reconsider the relationship between physical objects and the information that defines them. Who knows, maybe one day we'll be storing our digital lives on event horizon-inspired quantum hard drives.
That's mind-boggling, but I'm still struggling to picture how a two-dimensional surface can contain all the information of our vast 3D universe.
It's a mind-bending concept,
Mm-hmm.
and even physicists are still trying to wrap their heads around it. But think of it this way. Perhaps our perception of three dimensions is an emergent property of the information encoded on that 2D surface.
Okay, but how does this connect to our everyday experience? If we're living in a hologram, shouldn't we be seeing glitches in the Matrix or something?
Think of it less like a computer simulation and more like a fundamental principle of how reality is structured. Our brains might be interpreting the holographic information in a way that creates the illusion of a 3D world, a bit like how a 2D computer screen can display a 3D video game.
So our brains are the translator, converting this holographic code into the reality we experience.
That's a possible interpretation. And it leads us to another fascinating piece of this puzzle: quantum entanglement. Have you ever heard of this spooky action at a distance?
Oh, yes, where two particles are linked no matter how far apart they are. It's like they're communicating faster than the speed of light, which is supposed to be impossible.
Right. And this seemingly impossible connection might make more sense if our reality is fundamentally holographic. Imagine 2 points on that 2D surface, seemingly far apart in our 3D world, but actually connected through a hidden dimension. That could explain how entanglement allows particles to influence each other instantaneously.
So the 2D surface provides a shortcut, a hidden pathway that makes entanglement seem less spooky.
Exactly. The holographic principle offers a framework where the seemingly bizarre nature of entanglement becomes more understandable. It's like we're looking at a flattened map of a 3D world, and suddenly the distances between points make more sense.
Okay, my brain is definitely starting to feel a bit stretched, but I'm hooked. What other clues point towards this holographic reality?
Well, there's the famous double slit experiment, which shows that Particles can act like waves and particles at the same time.
Wait, you're saying that tiny particles can be in two places at once?
It sounds crazy, but that's what the experiments show. It suggests that reality might not be as solid and definite as we perceive it to be. Perhaps at a fundamental level, everything is a wave of possibilities, a probability distribution, until it's observed and collapses into a specific state. This, again, aligns with the idea of a universe governed by information, much like a hologram.
So instead of a universe made of tiny billiard balls, we're talking about a universe made of blurry waves of possibility, all encoded on a distant surface.
It's a radical shift in perspective, and there's still so much we don't know. But that's what makes the holographic principle so captivating. It challenges our deepest assumptions about the nature of reality and opens up a universe of possibilities.
This is already blowing my mind, and we've only just begun. Let's take a moment to absorb all this before we delve even deeper into the rabbit hole of the holographic universe. All right, we've laid the groundwork, exploring black holes, quantum entanglement, and the double-slit experiment. It seems like the holographic principle ties together some pretty wild concepts. But what does this all mean for us? If reality is a hologram, does that change how we should live our lives?
That's a great question, and one that philosophers are grappling with as much as physicists. One of the most profound implications is this idea of interconnectedness. If all the information in the universe is encoded on a single surface, then everything is fundamentally linked at a deeper level than we might realize.
It's like we're all characters in a cosmic movie, projected from the same film reel. So even though we seem separate, we're all connected by this underlying reality.
Exactly. It challenges the idea of separateness and suggests that we are all part of something much larger and more interconnected than we might perceive. Actions, thoughts, maybe even emotions, they're all part of this information web.
This is starting to sound a bit spiritual, almost like ancient Eastern philosophies that talk about the oneness of all things.
It's interesting that you bring that up. The holographic principle does resonate with certain spiritual ideas. It suggests that reality might be more about information and consciousness than about matter and energy, which aligns with some ancient wisdom traditions.
So instead of a universe made of tiny, solid particles, we're living in a universe made of pure information, a cosmic sea of data. And maybe, just maybe, our consciousness is somehow tapping into that sea, interacting with this universal information field.
Now you're getting it. It raises the question of whether consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, just like gravity or electromagnetism. Maybe consciousness isn't solely a product of our brains, but woven into the fabric of reality itself.
Okay, hold on. That's a huge leap. Are you saying that my thoughts and feelings aren't just happening in my head, but are somehow connected to this cosmic web of information?
It's a mind-blowing possibility. If the holographic principle holds true, it could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness and its place in the universe. Imagine, our minds might be like receivers, picking up signals from this universal information field.
Wow, so if we're all connected through this holographic information web, could that explain things like intuition or psychic phenomena, those moments when you just know something or feel connected to someone far away?
It's certainly an intriguing possibility. If our minds can interact with this cosmic information field, then those seemingly inexplicable experiences might be glimpses into that deeper level of reality. Perhaps we're tapping into something beyond our usual senses.
But let's get real for a second. Is there any scientific evidence to support these claims? Or are we just letting our imaginations run wild with holographic metaphors?
It's a fair question. The holographic principle is still a relatively young theory, and directly testing it is incredibly challenging. But there are some tantalizing clues, especially when we look at the behavior of black holes. Their ability to seemingly store information on their surfaces hints at a holographic nature to reality.
So black holes are like cosmic laboratories for studying the hologram.
You could say that. Scientists are also searching for subtle deviations from our current understanding of physics that might support the holographic idea. For example, they're studying the cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang, for patterns that might reveal a holographic structure to the universe.
It's like searching for the pixels of the cosmic hologram, right?
Precisely. And while there's no definitive proof yet, the search itself is pushing the boundaries of science and could lead to incredible discoveries.
This is all incredibly exciting, but I have to admit, it's a bit overwhelming. If reality is a hologram, does that mean our perceptions of space and time are just illusions? Is everything we experience just a projection?
It certainly challenges our conventional understanding of space and time. In a holographic universe, distance might be more about information content than physical separation. Imagine a library. Two books on the same shelf might seem far apart. In our 3D world, but in the library's database, their information is right next to each other. Perhaps space works similarly in the cosmic hologram.
So our 3D experience of distance could be a sort of translation of how information is arranged in this deeper reality.
That's a fascinating way to think about it. And time might not flow in a linear way, but instead be more like a tapestry where past, present, and future are all interwoven.
Okay, I need a moment to process this. So our brains are basically taking this jumbled holographic information and interpreting it as a linear progression of time.
Think of it like watching a movie. The film reel contains all the scenes, but the projector shows them to us in a specific order, creating the illusion of time moving forward.
I'm starting to see how this holographic perspective could completely change our understanding of the universe. But I still have one big question. If we're living in a hologram, who or what is the projector?
Ah, the ultimate mystery. The holographic principle doesn't provide an answer to that question. It's a descriptive theory, not an explanatory one. It tells us how information might be organized in the universe, but it doesn't reveal the source of the projection.
So are we living in a simulation created by some advanced civilization, or is it something even more mind-blowing that we can't even imagine?
The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this all so captivating. The holographic principle opens a Pandora's box of questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and the universe itself.
Well, I don't know about you, but after this conversation, I'm starting to see the world in a whole new light. Everything seems a little less solid, a little more interconnected.
That's the beauty of the holographic principle. It invites us to question our assumptions, to embrace the mystery, and to see the universe with fresh eyes.
We've covered a lot of ground, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this mind-bending topic. Before we wrap up our deep dive into the holographic universe, let's take a moment to consider what this all means for the future. We've explored this mind-bending idea that our universe might be a hologram, a projection of information from a distant two-dimensional surface. And it's a theory that rewrites the rules of reality as we know them. But where do we go from here? What does this mean for the future of science and our understanding of the cosmos?
The holographic principle, if proven true, has the potential to revolutionize our understanding of everything, from black holes to the human mind. Imagine the possibilities if we could fully grasp the principles of this cosmic hologram.
It's like we've stumbled upon a secret doorway to a whole new level of reality. What kind of breakthroughs could this lead to?
Think about fields like cosmology and astrophysics. Imagine being able to study the evolution of galaxies or the birth of stars in a holographic simulation based on the information encoded on that distant 2D surface. It could transform our understanding of the universe's history and its future.
It would be like having a cosmic time machine, allowing us to witness the grand events of the universe firsthand.
And the implications go far beyond astronomy. The holographic principle could revolutionize our approach to quantum mechanics, computer science, and even artificial intelligence.
Okay, now you're really getting my imagination going. How could this holographic perspective change those fields?
Imagine building computers that operate on holographic principles, perhaps using quantum entanglement to process information in ways we could barely fathom today. Or perhaps we could create artificial intelligence that can access and interpret information directly from this universal information field, leading to a level of intelligence we can only dream of.
It's both exhilarating and a little daunting to think about possibilities, isn't it? But what about the search for extraterrestrial life? If the universe is a hologram, could there be other beings out there existing on different parts of this holographic surface?
It opens up a whole new way of thinking about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Instead of just listening for radio signals or looking for spaceships, perhaps we should be looking for patterns in the cosmic hologram itself. Subtle signs of other conscious beings interacting with the universal information field.
It's like we've been looking for needles in a haystack when we should have been studying the fabric of the haystack itself.
Exactly. It might require a whole new set of tools and technologies to detect these subtle patterns.